Life path number 2, this is your end of the year reading plus your first reading for January, February, and March. We're going to look at your lessons that you need to get by the end of the year. And we're going to look at your theme or purpose or what's coming up for you in the new year. And we're going to get right into it. Okay? Life path number 2. Let's focus on your Sri Yantra for your highest purpose, highest good, to learn your lessons, to level up, to evolve, to be the best you, to learn your lessons. What are your lessons that you need to learn by the end of 2018? By the end of this month, what is it that you need to get? All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is pull from the Northern Lights deck for your themes, life path number 2 for 2019. And we're going to look at these 2 cards, or whatever comes out. 1 card, I don't know how many. At the end of the reading. Life path number 2. Your themes and lessons for 2019. Life path number 2. Life path number 2. Your themes and lessons for 2019. And we're just going to go with that. Ha! Okay, Asia. Asia. Which is how you say my name. Well, how you spell my name on my birth certificate, AJA. Asia, okay? And this has to do with past lives. And this is chakra number 6. So this is your crown chakra. Card number 20. So not only have many ancient spiritual traditions emerged from Asian civilization, but also thousand-year-old sled dog cultures have roots in Asia. Climates in Siberia and other frozen northern lands of Asia required special adaptation for humans to survive. Sled dogs played a key role in the villages and hunting cultures of these people, relied on for warmth when sleeping at night, especially for children and elders, and for endurance to pull sleds for transportation by day. These canines played a role nearly equal to humans. Not as well understood, but perhaps most important of all, was the sixth sense of these furry companions, knowing where to safely place their feet on treacherous surfaces, or heading around or away from dangerous terrain or impending bad weather, gained the respect of humans to such a degree that generally the dog's disobedience to a command was honored and followed. The trust between human and animal was deep. This clairvoyance and trust, in a sense beyond immediate proof, is what you experience in some way in an Asian lifetime. That is important to recall and tap into now. So the key issue is visualizing a concept and manifesting it. So this is more about you. This is saying basically for 2019, and this is this deck is about the northern lights of the aurora borealis, a journey to insight. Aurora is the dawn, and dawn is about inspiration and insight, okay? Which is why I was attracted to this deck. And so this year coming up, it looks like your theme is going to be trusting your instincts, trusting your sixth sense without understanding. Even if you don't logically understand why. It is kind of like your intuition is kind of like you being like, well, sit, stay, work, eat, and your sixth sense might be like, no, turn right and run, you know. And so, and that's really hard. That's not an easy skill to attain and to keep, especially being in life path number 2. where your lessons are to learn to work together with others. So that can cause a lot of conflict, but that can also cause you to grow a lot too, because while you're in a relationship with others, the lesson is also to learn how to keep your independence, because you're carrying on the lessons from life path number 1, you know, because you're a 1 and a 2. You know, you're carrying on your lessons of independence and freedom and commandership of the life path number 1, and you're combining it in relationships with other people who are also very strong-willed as well. So yeah, I'm going to keep this here, and at the end we're going to look more deeply into that. So let's get into our lessons for what's going on here. I'll read it later. All right, let's get into our what lessons you need to learn by the end of December. And for this, I'm just using the traditional tarot deck, and ooh, I can feel the spirit world pulling me in. I need some water. All right, life path number 2. Life path number 2. What lessons do they need to learn by December 31st? Life path number 2. Life path number 2. Life path number 2. Life path number 2. Immediately, those two come out. I'm going to show you the cards in a second. So the first card is the 3 of Hearts. I always say that, the 3 of Hearts, anytime I see this card. It's the 3 of Swords. And of course, when you look at this card, it's scary. But it denotes a grieving process. And that's funny, because that's exactly what my theme has been for today. Is learning, seeing that my obsessions and anything that I'm having a hard time letting go of, or anything that I'm obsessing over and have been obsessing over for the past few years, it seems, is because I refuse to surrender to that it's already been gone. It's lost. Like whatever it is I've been trying to hold on to. And most of the time grieving goes back in childhood even. And so I just think this card is interesting to come up right now for you guys, because I'm like, ooh, I can relate just by looking at this. But again, I see relationships that have been disappointing for you. This is not necessarily a romantic relationship, but this is you being sorrowful and grieving the loss of social relationships that you've had, that of people that you thought were your friends, people that you thought had your back, people that you thought were which championed you for in a positive way. It looks like they have disappointed you. And the lesson is that, you know, it's kind of like you asked to see this. This is the wish card. It's like you wanted to know who was really for you. You wanted to know by the end of this year who you should let go of, and who you should keep, who's a real friend, basically. And you're being shown this now, and it's heartbreaking. It's making you really sad, you know. And the Knight of Wands reversed is underneath the Three of Swords. And what this is saying to me is that it will be really good for you to do the work of your grieving process now, even though it's not easy, even if you don't want to. Like, don't let this linger on to the next year. Like, don't allow this situation to keep going. Maybe take stock of how things have been, and how you have been treated, and that you don't like it. Like, actually feel your feelings as deeply as you possibly can now, and kind of get that out the way so that you can move on. Because it's just saying that it's time for you to focus on your own peace, your own happiness, and your own balance within yourself. And maybe even getting to know that maybe you've been it's like you're a pure person. You've been a good person in your relationships. I feel like this is what you have been to these people. Just constantly trying to put life into relationships that don't really give you anything. Were people who basically have been talking about you behind your back, or just being unsupportive, even if it's in secret. But it seems to be out in the open to you now. And again, this is something that you've asked to know, because in you knowing this, the Seven of Swords reverse is telling me that although this is like some controversy going on, you wanted to know so that you can live your best life. Like, get on with the truth of who you really are and start being honest. The last card that came out is the Ace of Swords reverse, which is telling me that in these situations, you haven't been clear about who you are and what you want, and you haven't really been standing up for it. And B, there's been some words that in some exchanges and communication that have been unpleasant and maybe a bit abusive. And maybe this energy has been obvious to you, but sometimes we feel like we can help people, especially if you're coming from a good place. A lot of times we can get into this thing where we're like, well, if I show them and teach them how to love, you know, if I'm the peace in the situation, it'll rub off on everybody else. But for some mofos, you can't save them, you can't teach them, you can't tell them enough. You know, there's nothing you can do to like help them or move the situation around, or, you know, it's you need to take your inner peace and your inner knowing and save yourself. Work on yourself, because I'm really focused in on this Temperance card here for some reason. And I feel like I really haven't like really tapped into what this is completely. Let me see. What's coming to mind is giving, loving, and support. This is kind of like what you were hoping for. It's like you were hoping for reciprocity. It's like you're looking for a confession, almost. Like you want people to be a good person. Be a good person to you and confess. And because I'm also focused on him too. This smugness. It looks like you're going to get a confession. You're going to get what you want. And this is telling me you're not going to like it. You're not going to like what you hear. This is the confession. This is someone coming clean. And it's because you've been a great person. It's like somebody's going to come to their senses and be like, you know, I realize what you've been to me in my life. And that all you really wanted for me is good. And I haven't necessarily been like the best person. I've been kind of like a misfit. And it seems like you've been misjudged this year. Yeah. So let's get into January, okay? Let's get into January. All right. Where are we going next with this? January. Life path number 2. January, life path number 2. Okay, add that up. January, life path number 2. As I feel the spirit world taking me in a bit deeper. I can sense it. January, life path number 2. And I just ask for more clarity for life path number 2 so that they can get the correct messages that they need to get. I don't want to not be hitting up on it for them on what the issues actually are. You know, I did see that Queen of Cups while I was shuffling. The Queen of Cups. My mouth is just very dry. Okay. Wow. Okay. All right. So in January, what I'm seeing, okay, so we have the Queen of Cups and we have the 9 of Cups again. And then we have the 4 of Pentacles for you. The first thing that came to my gut is that you're going to start focusing on yourself. This Ace of Swords is like the last straw for you in December. You're just kind of like, okay, I'm done with the disrespect. It seems like there's a confession, but then like it gets ugly. Maybe you stand up for yourself finally, or you don't even really get a chance to truly express how you really feel. It seems like the person that you're dealing with, and I feel like I'm starting to tune into it more. It seems like the person you're dealing with is used to a one-sided relationship with you. They're not used to you being assertive, I'll say, about how you feel and what you want. And it seems like you've been passive because you feel like being a good person is par for the course. It's like, duh. To you, it's like being kind is like a no-brainer. And you don't really understand anything else. Like, you don't understand why someone would lie, or why someone would cheat, or why someone would not see that you're a pure-hearted person. Like, how could they not see that? And that's what I'm picking up on. It's like, because you don't understand that there's just some people who are immature. You don't understand that level of immaturity. And you're realizing you don't have to deal with it anymore. So when January 1st hits, we have the Queen of Lotuses. Basically, you begin to feel yourself and your energy. And you see that you're bomb. That your energy is lit. And it's because of this situation. Like, don't knock the conflict. I don't believe that you shouldn't have this conflict, and that you shouldn't be in this situation. There are no shoulds. It is what there's the is, you know, and however it is that you get your lesson, so be it. Okay? So at the beginning of January, you'll be like more confident in your sensitivity and your strength at the same time. You will have cultivated this energy, like your sexual prowess, your creative energy, your intuitive powers, and then you'll be able to ask for what you want because you're into yourself. And it's a good self-centeredness. I believe that it's good to have a healthy amount of selfishness. You have to have that in order to complete your mission on Earth. Unless your mission is to completely be focused on other people all the time, 24/7, okay, well then that's different. But it doesn't look like that's the case. It looks like you are to like master yourself, your being, your power. And you're going to move into this phase of manifestation. The Four of Pentacles. This Four of Pentacles, because this deck reads a bit different than a traditional tarot deck. It goes in and like a bit deeper. So in this deck, this card denotes you going on a journey on your own and leaving people behind. Even if it could be like you leave behind, like, because he's leaving behind his wife and his child to follow his purpose and follow his mission. And now this Queen of Lotuses isn't just a normal Queen of Lotuses. This is the goddess Rashi. And she is the wife of Kama, what people would call Cupid. And she went through a lot with him. And in the process of going through everything she went through, she got stronger because of it. And that's why I was saying the things I was saying. And this card is, I mean, she developed her sexuality, her kundalini energy, and she became like a prowess, powerful goddess within her own being, because she faced herself and she faced her demons and she faced her challenges. So in January, you'll be able to believe in yourself basically enough to face your challenges. And the Nine of Cups is like a marriage between your masculine and feminine energies, you know, between souls. And for me, and to me, this means that you like completely, without the Tower being shown here, it's like you didn't need the Tower. You didn't need like some catastrophe to happen to get this, which is awesome. It's like you humbly accept your flaws and your fault in this situation. And you just simply let go. You let it go. And I'm proud of you for that. In January, you'll be able to move on to the abundance of your path. Let's look at February. February, okay. February, life path number 2. And I'm all the way in now. And it's a bit more comfortable for my mind. All right, February for life path number 2. I'm seeing the trust card. Life path number 2. February. Okay, that's a lot. That came out first. How do I want to do this? Oh, it's 6. It looked like a lot. Alright. Now, the Osho Zen Tarot deck will tend to see behind the veil of the mask that we want to display and give you a reading that is much like the traditional tarot, because again we have the 3 of Swords, and we have a new card, the 9 of Wands reversed, and this looks like getting over, you're beginning to get over and thaw out your emotions from the loss that you've been experiencing in the relationships that no longer serve you, and just from being like a perfectionist, a busybody. This is 9 of Wands in the Osho Zen Tarot deck. It's about exhaustion, having so much going on that, you know, it just is not logical, and it makes no sense for you physically. You can't keep everything up. Let's keep reading so that I can get even more of a better understanding. And so here we have the Strength card, conditioning. So this is what you've been used to. This is what this card is saying. You're used to exhausting yourself, but you're beginning to come out of this phase, I see. Coming out of this phase where you give too much. This is the Queen of Cups again, the Queen of Emotions, receptivity, and it's reversed. So in February, I feel like this is you again, taking the high road and taking responsibility for what you've been doing with your energy, how you've been in relationships, and it's coming to light for you. Like, this is you just kind of taking stock and going over your energies again, looking deeper within so that you can manifest even deeper, because it seems like you have a lot of wishes, because the 9 of Cups keeps coming up. This is the 9 of Cups in different decks. 9 of Lotuses, 9 of Cups. There's something that you really want, and when you ask for what you want, a lot of times you will purge energies that get in your way. So it seems like what gets in your way is taking on way too much, and it seems like it's because you don't want to feel your feelings. It's like taking on a lot of issues, and maybe even issues that aren't even yours. Because the Queen of Cups reverse is about absorbing other people's energies. And this is what you're used to doing. But this card is saying that you have the strength to undo this conditioning. And the next cards that come up, which are amazing, it's like, again, you jump. It's when you take responsibility. Life path number 2, it looks like a portal opens up for you. You know, because we have the Master, which isn't in any other deck. This is a special card for the Osho Zen Tarot deck. And then we have the King of Pentacles. And is this what you've been wanting? Is this your wish? You know, it's like you want to master your material world and make your dreams come true. I mean, look at him. It's like you're walking the middle path between the spiritual world of manifestation, where things are pre-manifested. You know, as soon as you think of thought, it's already began manifesting. You know, and it looks like what you've been doing and mastering is purging the energies that don't serve what you really want, which is abundance. You care about your sensuality, but you also care about your psychic, intuitive, intimate connection with life. You want it all, basically. And this reading is saying you can have that. And you're doing a good job at allowing that to happen. So let's look at March. Water. All right, March. That card wants to come out. Life path number 2. March. Life path number 2. March. Life path number 2. Okay. And that's all I'm going to do. Oh. So again, we have the 3 of Swords. And it's not a coincidence. It's a spirit world. They abundantly share their wisdom and knowledge with us from the other realm. So in this row, we have 3 times we see the 3 of Swords. The first time, it's upright. The next 2 times, it's reversed. Okay? And for 3 months, part of your healing will be putting a stop to people hurting you. And taking your energy from you. And you take a responsibility for that. So when you hit March, you'll still be grieving. This relationship meant a lot to you. And it's okay. And it's kind of good to know that it's okay for it to take some time. And because what I'm learning about our emotional body is that the more respect we give to it, the more the less control we try to exert over our emotions, the more freely we can move. The next card that comes out is the Ace of Swords, and we only saw this once, and you know both times they're reversed. So it seems like you come back into communication with someone, with the same person that you feel wounded by. And I only say that because I mean, the Ace of Swords could be taken like you're not clear about what you want or who you are. But that's not true. Like, I don't see that in this reading. I definitely see that this wounding has to do with communication or lack of communication with you and someone that, you know, maybe this Nine of Cups is the person you feel like you want, that you feel like you can have it all with, you know. This could be a relationship that you need to move on from. And maybe there was some type of infidelity for some of you. It's interesting that in March there's 3 swords that I pulled. Very mental. Ace of Swords reverse. No, 3 of Swords reverse. Ace of Swords reverse. And then the Page of Swords reverse. And you know, the Page of Swords is a very interesting card to me. It's like quick thinking. Thinking on your feet. Inventive. You know, smart as a whip. But if it's not used correctly, you could do some damage with that tongue. It's like the truth's being spoken, but not in love. I know I have another deck. Because I really want to, now I want to look at, I want to see why. Why this Page of Swords now at the end. When we had such a beautiful outcome. I'll come behind my desk is over there. In my drawers with all my tarot cards. Alright, so this Page of Swords reversed. Well, all 3 of these cards together, it's kind of troubling. It's like a wound being opened up again. It's like you were doing this great work on yourself to heal this wound. And so often, as all of us do, we go back. When you start to feel a little bit better, you feel like you're strong enough to handle some things. And, you know, healing is like layers. It's like peeling away an onion. There's different layers to it. So I'm not saying that, from my personal wisdom, that you shouldn't, you know, ever repeat this cycle or go through this. I just want you to understand your psychology as to why you would, and maybe see, you know, if you can avoid it. If you could. If you can't, maybe it's, I mean, of course, if this is what's meant to be, it's what's meant to be. Sometimes you can't, well, I'm not going to say that, because we're very much co-creators in this realm. All right, Page of Swords, Ace of Swords, 3 of Swords, life, and immediately. Okay. Alright, so this is the Daughter of Earth, and this is about you, again, being creative, having like all this creative energy, and putting the effort and the work into manifesting the things that you want in your life, but on a really creative level, being inventive, being a genius, having a new and fresh approach, because pages are it's very youthful energy. And then we have the 7 of Fire. Okay. And it seems like you're protecting yourself. You feel defensive. You know, like, I can't allow you to come into my space and do what you've done to me in the past. You get in the way of my manifestations. But this 10 of Swords is really interesting to me now. This is 10 of Air, negative thinking. What you really need to see and understand is that this negativity in this relationship is a manifestation of your own negative thinking. What you need to do is say to yourself that, you know, I no longer need to hold on to negative thinking. Like, I no longer need to manifest my negative thoughts through this relationship. I release the need for this relationship in combination and manifestation with, you know, my negative thinking. Release it. Release the need for this. Because it does slow you down and get in your way. So let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at Asia, okay? We're going to take a look and see what 2019 holds for you when it comes to you following your sixth sense. And what will that get you? Life path number 2. I kind of feel drunk with spiritual intuition right now. It makes you feel kind of tipsy. All right. All right, what does waning crescent? I think the waning crescent is endings. Interesting, yo. The waning crescent is about endings. Yeah, it is. It's like an ending of, because we're moving from the full moon to the new moon. So an ending denotes a new beginning. And so does Pisces. Pisces is very much about ending old drama, old karma from past lives, and healing that energy in the now, like in the present day. Anywhere, have you noticed that anywhere you have Pisces is very strong influences from your family, but it runs deep though. It runs so deep, it feels like second nature. But it feels like if you don't work on it and evolve those issues, and it's most of the time emotional wounds and connected to abuse, but also connected to what we really, really want in our lives as well. It's like Pisces is like your highest dreams and ideals that can't manifest unless you bring them down to earth. In order to bring your highest dreams down to earth, you have to deal with whatever is getting in your way. And it seems like what gets in your way is your inability to end the dramas. End the drama. Like, release the need. Say to yourself, I release the need for this drama in my life. Now, you and with Pisces, there's an attachment. There's attachment to the relationships, as if I can't live without these things, these people, this situation. Like, you won't know who you are without it. But that's the whole point. It's about creating a new identity. Pisces has to do with allowing your old avatar to go and making a new avatar, even while you're still alive. A lot of times we feel like reincarnation is only for death, like physical death, like your body's gone and decay and you get a new body. But sometimes you can have a reincarnation in your body. And that's what the ascension is about. It's about all of us ascending, basically reincarnating into a new cellular body while we are still alive, which seems impossible. But you know, this reading here is it's giving you clues on how you're going to do that. And this is what your 2019 will be about. I'll see you guys soon for either your human design reading or your zodiac readings. I usually don't spend this much time on numerology readings or human design readings, but this is a special that I am doing for the new year. Wow, blessings to you.